So now fresh footage just surfaced showing Fat Joe stepping straight to Wack 100 during the latest Super Bowl this past February, and it's way more intense than people expected. Not just Joe either. Terror Squad was right there behind him, moving like a unit, while Wack had his crew close but still looked visibly shaken if you really watched the clip. This wasn't podcast talk or internet energy, this was face-to-face pressure in real time, something you rarely see from the same crowd that usually stays comfortable behind mics on platforms like No Jumper. Out west, Wack's name alone has people acting careful, especially on those shows. But Joe clearly wasn't playing that role at all, stepping in with a whole different level of presence like his boots were built for moments like this. The wild part is, this clip is only a couple months old and just now going viral, which makes the timing look real interesting, considering Wack was recently on Clubhouse talking about how he pressed Fabulous and had him leaving a club in front of Joe. Now, this footage flips that narrative completely and puts everything into question, making the whole situation look messy and way more complicated than people first thought. So now the timing of this footage dropping feels real calculated because it lines up perfectly with everything Wack 100 has been saying lately in interviews and online spaces. He already sat down with Vlad TV speaking on the situation, and now this clip shows Fat Joe actually stepping to him over those rat accusations.
Fabulous, get out of there.
In the block.
Quick. He hear Fat Joe say, yo, Wack, what is going on? Wack, what's happening? They see Wack say, Fat Joe, this me you talking to. And walk up. Niggas get to getting out of there. 15, 20-minute conversation. I'm thinking we're in an intricate place. Fat Joe man tell a nigga with the camera, hey, kill that camera. It ain't on. I don't give a fuck. Actually, it was on. I'm letting you know what you better not raise up. Somebody still had the footage.
Tied to people in Joe's circle, like Pistol Pete. All that talking across No Jumper and even on Clubhouse built a narrative, and now it looks like that same narrative caught up to him in real life, face to face.
There was a rumor that Fat Joe confronted you over comments you made about Max being Pistol Pete.
That's no rumor. I told the world that. We got video footage. I never put it out. I'll send you the video so you can. I think we got some video footage when it first.
At the same time, nothing really escalated past that moment, which is probably the only reason this didn't turn into something way worse. Nobody got touched, nobody got hurt, and both sides walked away without things going completely left. That matters because situations like this can flip fast, especially when tensions already exist, and people remember past incidents tied to Wack where things got physical in public settings. This time though, it stayed controlled, even if the energy looked tense on camera. Now the bigger question sitting in the background is how this changes perception around Fat Joe himself. People been questioning his stories for years, calling him out over exaggerations, but seeing him stand firm like that on camera is making some folks look at him a little different. It doesn't erase anything from the past, but it definitely adds a new layer to how people judge him, especially when it comes to how he handles situations in person versus how things sound in interviews. So, does this actually boost Fat Joe's credibility, especially when people talk about street presence? It's not that simple, because it lands somewhere in the middle. Pressing up on Wack 100 doesn't automatically hand out points like that, and he's definitely not the first person to confront him either. But at the same time, you can't ignore the fact that he actually stepped forward and did it in real life, not just behind a mic or on a live stream. That alone separates him from a lot of loud voices that stay talking but never move. There's a clear pattern where people build these tough personas online, especially around platforms like No Jumper. But when it comes to direct interaction, that same energy disappears fast. Here, at least you saw someone walk up, address the issue, and make it clear where they stand without hiding behind interviews or clips. That kind of direct pressure, even without things getting physical, still carries weight because it shows willingness to stand on what's being said. And that's where the contrast becomes obvious, because a lot of those same personalities would never approach Wack like that in person. Instead, it turns into respect, compliments, and careful conversations to stay on good terms. No tension, no confrontation, just smooth talk and safe energy. So while this moment doesn't rewrite everything about Joe's reputation, it does highlight a gap between talk and action. And right now, that difference is hard to ignore. Let's be honest about the dynamic on No Jumper, because a lot of those co-hosts move like they're there to stay on Wack 100's good side more than anything else. You see it in how they talk, how they react, how careful they get whenever his name comes up. Like everything has to stay smooth and respectful at all times. There's no real pushback, no tension, just people playing their role and keeping things comfortable so nothing turns awkward on camera. That's why this moment stands out, because Fat Joe doesn't move like that at all. He's not coming in to agree, he's not coming in to play along, and he's definitely not about to sit there and let narratives build unchecked.
We get a photo with you.
We don't need no pictures right now. Man, that shit too much, man.
He might not be the biggest name when you stack up hip-hop legacies, and his catalog isn't always placed at the very top, but he still carries himself like someone who won't be brushed aside. When something crosses the line, especially involving people close to him, he's willing to address it directly, right there in person. So even if this doesn't suddenly rewrite everything about his status, it still earns a level of respect because he didn't stay silent and he didn't hide behind interviews. Meanwhile, in that same clip, Wack looks caught off guard, almost unsure how to respond in that moment, which only adds more fuel to how people are reading the situation right now. The full footage lays it all out clearly, and once you see it from start to finish, the tension speaks for itself. That whole moment looked overwhelming, no way around it, because Wack 100's body language told the story before anyone even said a word. You could see him adjusting, watching his surroundings, moving careful, like he didn't want anything going left too fast. It wasn't just talk, it was the energy in the room, and it felt like he knew he wasn't in the strongest position at that moment. Even if he was outnumbered, people still expected a stronger response from someone who usually talks with that level of confidence online. From one angle, standing firm and doubling down would have looked bold, but at the same time, that could have escalated into something way worse instantly. Situations like that don't stay verbal for long if things go the wrong way, so choosing not to push it further might have actually been the smarter move, even if it didn't look as strong on camera. Either way, the clip created a contrast between how things are said in interviews versus how they play out face to face. Now, all of this circles back to Fat Joe and how people judge him overall. He's been criticized for years, with some accusing him of exaggerating stories or speaking loosely on sensitive topics, which even led to backlash during major opportunities like the BET Awards hosting situation. Add in debates about his comments on hip-hop history, and it's clear his reputation has been questioned more than once. But moments like this complicate that image, because while criticism still exists, seeing him stand up in person forces people to reassess how they view his actions versus his words. So even with everything that's been said about Fat Joe over the years, this moment doesn't suddenly erase all the criticism around him. A lot of people in hip-hop still take issue with his past moves, favoritism, and certain statements that rub the culture the wrong way. And that doesn't just disappear overnight. Stepping to Wack 100 like that might look bold, but being confrontational alone doesn't define anything about real hip-hop standing or legacy. That was more of a reaction to the situation than anything deeper, just handling business in the moment the way he felt he had to. At the same time, this clip does more damage to Wack's image than anything else if you really break it down. This isn't the first time people have seen him in an uncomfortable or vulnerable spot, and moments like this start stacking up whether he likes it or not. It creates a gap between the image he presents in interviews and how things unfold when it's actually face to face. That contrast is what people are focusing on now, and it's not helping his narrative at all. It also throws doubt on stories he's told before, like the situation involving Fabulous allegedly leaving a club. Even if that situation did happen, this footage makes people question the reasoning behind it, because now it doesn't look like it came from fear or pressure. It could just as easily be someone avoiding unnecessary conflict, especially when other tensions, like connections to Jim Jones, are already in play. The connection makes it even more complicated because Fabulous and Jim Jones are close and even work together on content like the Let's Rap About It podcast. So there's already a layer of loyalty involved before Wack 100 even enters the picture. That alone can explain why certain conversations never happen, because some people would rather avoid the situation completely than engage in something tied to existing tensions. It's not always about fear. Sometimes it's just about not entertaining unnecessary problems. But when it comes to Wack, moments like this don't just disappear. They stack up and shape how people view him over time, especially with how he moves on platforms like No Jumper, where he's known for controlling the room and pressing others during conversations. Now that this footage is circulating, that same energy is being compared to how things looked in person, and the difference is starting to stand out more than ever. That kind of contrast forces a shift in perception, whether it's fair or not. If things had gone differently in that moment with Fat Joe, the reaction online could have flipped completely. A stronger response might have changed the entire narrative and boosted how people rate his presence across different regions, not just in one scene. Instead, this clip leaves space for debate, with some people questioning and others defending.
Can't say, you really want, I'll figure it out. And if you practice that, I gotta go figure it out. We're gonna get done with it. Don't nobody know nothing.
Yeah, I don't know who do the schedule. I don't.
Good morning. What I do know is that unless you're changing the title, you don't have to keep redoing the room. It's set up as recurring. You have the option for that. Know who would reschedule this room because it's the same title every day.
You don't got the same guy title every day. You don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You always come over like you know what we're talking about. Nigga, I got room schedulers. This ain't Dante Brook room. That's why I got room schedulers, so I can narrow it down. Did you know that?
I stand corrected.
Yeah, I know. Talking out your ass. Either your ass or AI. Don't me right now. Unless you really want that. Come over here with your bright ass ideas. I have room schedulers. You coming over here with these bright ass ideas like Einstein or something. You always do that shit. Don't know when to shut up and kick back. And then get mad when somebody call you on your shit.
But either way, it's clear this situation added another layer to how both sides are being judged right now. At the end of the day, this whole situation splits opinions because even people who aren't fans of Fat Joe still have to admit he stepped up and made it a real moment on camera. That doesn't suddenly make him flawless, but it does show he was willing to match energy in person, and that alone is what people keep focusing on. Meanwhile, Wack 100 had a chance to stand firm in that same moment, and even if things didn't need to escalate, people expected at least a stronger stance from him, given how he usually carries himself publicly. The age factor also adds another layer, because Joe isn't exactly young, but he still moved with confidence in that situation. That contrast makes the moment stand out even more, since both sides are seasoned and experienced, yet the energy didn't match what people are used to seeing online. It highlights how different real-life encounters can be compared to the narratives built through interviews, live streams, and audio spaces. At the same time, this clip is only getting so much attention because it's rare to actually see something like this happen on video. Stories about confrontations involving Wack have been floating around for years, especially across platforms like Clubhouse, but clear, in-person footage like this almost never surfaces. That's what makes this moment stick, because instead of just hearing about it, people are finally watching it unfold, and that changes how the entire situation is being judged right now. This whole situation really comes down to perception, because even after seeing everything, opinions aren't lining up the same way. Some people are giving Fat Joe more respect for stepping up in person, while others still hold on to the same criticisms they've had about him for years. One moment like this doesn't completely rewrite someone's reputation, especially when there's already a long history attached to how people view them. At the same time, Wack 100's image doesn't just collapse off one clip either. His presence online has been built over time, especially through platforms like Clubhouse, where he's maintained a strong and loyal audience for years. That kind of consistent influence doesn't disappear overnight, no matter how one moment might look on camera. Even when people question certain actions, that core group continues to support and amplify everything he says. And that's the key difference here, because real life moments might shift conversation temporarily, but long-term influence is built through repeated visibility and control of the narrative. Wack has spent years building that ecosystem around him, and even when criticism pops up, it rarely slows down his reach or authority online. So while this clip adds pressure and sparks debate, it's not enough on its own to completely undo everything he's built across those spaces. At this point, nobody's really switching sides overnight, and you can already see how people are reacting without holding back. The footage speaks for itself, and everyone's reading it how they want. Whether that means giving Fat Joe credit for stepping up or questioning why Wack 100 didn't match that same energy in the moment. The opinions are split, and that's exactly why this clip keeps gaining traction the way it is. Now it all comes down to how you see it, because this situation raises a lot of angles at once. Does this moment change how you view Fat Joe, or does his past still outweigh everything? Does Wack take a hit from this, or does his presence stay exactly the same moving forward? There's a lot to unpack here, and people are definitely going to keep debating it from every side. Drop your thoughts down below and speak on it, because this one got the timeline active for a reason. Hit that like button since it pushes the video out heavy, and don't forget to tap that hype button too, because it makes a real difference for the channel. If you're new here, subscribe right now and turn on all notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.